Please, we cannot hear anything on Zoom.
Are all of these linked together, right? So we start at artificial intelligence, right? A lot of people understand, oh, with AI, they're trying to build smart machines, they're trying to build things like autonomous cars and all of that. So everybody has, at this point in time, has an idea of what AI sounds like or looks like. But underneath AI itself, when you go deeper, you start talking about machine learning, right? So with machine learning or ML, right, this is how machines learn based on the data that is being generated, learning over time, right? And then you use that learning to be able to repeat tasks. So the machine has learned, and then you can now use that to repeat that same job. Then beyond machine learning, as you go further deeper, you now have deep learning, right? So with deep learning, what we're now doing is we're now coming up with patterns, right? They're able to now build up logical structures, algorithms, something that we call artificial neural networks. If you look at the brain, the human brain, the brain has neural networks. So basically, your brain, that's why when a child experiences something the first time, you experience it the second time. By the time you do that thing a number of times, you become an expert at it. It's like a child learning how to eat, for instance, right? A 1-year-old might be taking food and then he's dropping and messes the whole place up. But you continue doing it, and then you become better at this thing and you become an expert at it. Now, how does that happen? It's because your brain is building this neural network. It's like a pathway that links the different steps or different things that you're doing. And that's what we're doing with deep learning, right? And this is the same concept that artificial intelligence is based on. Now, if you come a step further, you now have Gen AI, right? Which is the one that has actually become very popular, right? Generative AI, in use cases, you look at the likes of ChatGPT, which was where a lot of people really started experiencing it. And now, what does generative AI actually mean? It means that this is not just, learning or being able to understand those patterns now. It's now being able to learn, understand, and then be able to generate, right, fresh patterns or images based on information that has been learned earlier. So, for instance, when you go to generative AI and you say, okay, you go into maybe one of these chat GPT and the likes, and you say, okay, write me an essay that talks about my experience in a secondary school, right? Because it has been taught a lot. It has learned a lot of information that it has, patterns and all of that. It goes through that, looks at some of this history that it has, or the things it has learned, and it uses that to generate a fresh, new, image, document, file, or whatever it is. So this is how all of these things are linked up. And then you now have AGI, right? Which is what we're really trying to get to now. We're trying to create AIs that can think as close to human beings as possible, right? Full artificially generated intelligence, artificial general intelligence. So this is how all of this is linked. And with AI, deep learning, machine learning, we're getting to a point where this is now beginning to impact our day-to-day activities in life, in business, in the different sectors, and you will see a lot of those different use cases and sectors that are related to this. So, what is an enterprise, right? An enterprise is an organization that has been set up to carry out some form of business activity, right? Whether it's for profit or it's for delivering a certain purpose. So you have multiple enterprises, different industries, whether it's banking, whether it's oil and gas, whether it's public sector, whatever the enterprise is. Enterprises have the need to carry out these activities using technology. So there's been, a history of how enterprises have been evolving, and then this graph is basically supposed to show you how things have evolved over time. So back in the day, we've had what we'll say business processes that organizations needed to do, enterprises needed to do. And a lot of these were very manual, and they were canned in the sense that everything was formed in a particular style or managed by a central organization. So what that means is if you had centralized IT, everything was controlled by the IT, and then everything was more or less process driven, just process centric enterprises. Yes. So that was where things were. So there was specific business applications, and you don't. I would say the idea of thinking out of the box was very limited. Now, beyond that, we now started looking at the data, the applications that lots of organizations started generating and using, and saying, how can we get more from all of this information and data that we have? And then that led to the idea of coming up with analytics. So that's really where analytics came in. Organizations wanted to understand how they can leverage the data, the information that they have, to be able to make better business decisions, be able to drive profitability, right? Be able to improve efficiency. So with that happening, we now started having analytics. And then analytics now started becoming predictive. So apart from being able to analyze data and say, oh, this is our business, this is how much we've sold this month, right? This is the number of customers that we have. The next step now became being able to predict. If I know how much I sold last month and I know how much I've sold this month, chances are I'll be able to look at the trend, right? And say, this is where things should be going. So that became the next phase. And of course, that was organizations becoming more data-driven. Now, the next step is now an adaptive enterprise. Yes, you can predict something, but what is the guarantee that this particular thing, I'm not done. What is the guarantee that this particular prediction will come to pass, right? The probability is not 100%. So organizations needed to become more adaptive, right? In terms of how they move. Basically, organizations needed to become more agile. So for instance, let's look at 2020, 2021. Who could predict that COVID-19 was going to happen? I don't think anybody, maybe in 2019, you wouldn't have guessed anything like that would happen, and the impact that it had on lots of businesses. Imagine a business that at that point in time had the power of AI and was able to predict and then go beyond predicting. And you had the AI prescribed to say, okay, these are the things you need to put in place because something like this could happen, right? So that is the level we're getting to, where you're able to preempt some of these changes, some of these issues that could come up. And that's where AI really shines, comes in and shines. So that is where we're at this point, and we're only evolving and getting better as relates to this. So a few statistics. AI is disrupting every business, right? 31% of companies now have AI in their production environments in one form or the other, whether it's their core business application, HR. There's so many applications or services that have AI embedded, and it's only going to become more and more, right? As time goes on, right? So 92% of large companies report ROI on their data and AI investment. So people are not just applying AI for the fun of applying it, that people are now beginning to see results, and it's driving that adoption even more. Now, at Oracle, we have invested heavily in helping organizations, enterprises to be able to leverage the AI potential that is out there today. And we have over 430,000 customers using our different products and services that are leveraging AI in some form or the other. As you'll see that for Oracle, AI is built into the entire stack that we offer to our customers. We've invested over $59 billion in R&D over the past 10 years to ensure that we're able to offer the best class of products and services to enterprises. So for Oracle, where does AI play for us, right? AI plays in the entire stack. So whether it's our infrastructure, the way we offer data services, data management, AI services, which you will also see, and then even our applications, we have SaaS applications that we've built, software as a service applications that are based in the cloud. And in terms of the partner levels that we have that to deliver these services to you, you will see that AI is built into every part of our business. So just to throw this to the audience, right? In terms of your organization, where you work today, or your experiences in businesses that you've had something to do with, maybe a business that provides services to you. Just ask a few people, what are the challenges that you see that a lot of enterprises have today?
And entities.
Yes, fraud, very important. Yes.
Probably I would say collecting data, because I recently started an internship program with a hospital where we Care One Digital Hospital, a hospital network that they manage about several hospitals across Nigeria. And one of the biggest issues I feel they faced is collecting data from this hospital to give insights and analyze.
Okay, so that's data management.
Like payment failures in terms of banking sector, not getting your transaction approved on time, or sometimes wrongful debits.
Okay, so should I say operational efficiency, customer service, right? Because that also falls into customer service. Yeah, please hold on.
Compliance issues due to policy and regulations within where the businesses operate.
All right, another great challenge that people have, right? Compliance, being sure that people are following policies, either in delivering business services to customers and even within organizations. A lot of times you find out that there are compliance issues. Any additional? Okay, all right. So we've listed quite a number of these challenges, right? These are general challenges that people experience everywhere. So there's issues with fraud, which is a big one right now. Fraud and security, right? It's a big issue. You have competition. So like you said, so you talked about, banks having transactions failing and all of that. Why that is even more critical now is the banks are competing with other banks. So if you are having challenges as a bank or a financial service provider, people have multiple apps on their phone today, right? If I use one, I want to buy credit and it doesn't go, what happens? I open another one. So, and if every time I know that once I use this one, it works all the time, what happens? I forget that I forget that other app exists. So it shows how important it is that be able to deliver good customer experience, good customer service, right? There are also issues of conversational AI, right? You want to speak to a chatbot and then it comes back. How many people have experienced that in where you go to a website and you see that pop-up that says, how can I help you? But then you ask it questions and you're like, what is this thing saying? Huh?
Contrary to what you asked.
Exactly. So, exactly. And you keep rephrasing, and then maybe after 3 or 4 times, the thing just says, let me connect you to a customer rep. So you're like, why didn't you just connect me to a customer rep in the first instance? Why did you waste 15 minutes of my life? Right? So we'll see how AI comes into that. But I mean, those are some of those challenges. And then there are lots of trends, right? We know how things are being in terms of financials around the country in general, right? So everybody keeps talking about cost cutting, cost optimization, right? That's it. Whether it's in your office or in your house, everybody's trying to optimize costs. So that's a trend. So reducing operational cost, fraud monitoring, improving customer service. You see a lot of the trends are things that are designed to address those challenges that exist today. And, so basically, Now linking that to the value proposition that Oracle is offering. So at Oracle, we're saying, how do we use our services to be able to enhance your experience? And we have end-to-end solutions that we'll be talking about today to basically help you be able to transform and evolve your business with AI. So let's move forward. So what is our approach to AI and generative AI, which is the most popular one that is out there today? By the way, talking about generative AI, I'm sure everybody in here has a phone, right? If you don't have a phone, you can raise up your hand. Okay, so people probably even have 2 or 3. And on that phone, I'm guessing most people here will have WhatsApp or Instagram, right? So there's something you will have noticed that maybe earlier this year or sometime last year, you'll have seen this search bar option that says Meta AI, right? And then people use it for interesting things now. Now in groups, I'm a part of a group of friends. We play football together. They will start arguing that who scored the goal in the final in 2004 World Cup or 2002 World Cup. And then we argue, and then the next thing we ask Meta AI and say, okay, who actually won this thing? And then he gives us the answer. Or we ask it an hypothetical question, and he gives us an answer that, okay, what would happen if somebody jumped from a 40th story building and landed on a trampoline? He gives you an answer, right? You know why it's able to do that? That's based on generative AI. If you remember, I spoke at the beginning and I talked about it's not just learning, right? It learns, and then it's able to use what it has learned to be able to generate something new. So the machine, the AI, we'll get to that, the language model already has learned about the jumping from a distance, the height. It was also learned about trampoline, so it knows what a trampoline is. So it will do its own calculation and give you a response to say, oh, chances are you might not survive or something. But that's usually how those questions are answered by generative AI. So that process of generating a response, a unique new response, is actually the generative AI in action. So how do we approach that? AI and generative AI is built into all our services, from applications to the hardware to software, and you can leverage all of that, whether it's on premises in your data center or it's going to be in the cloud. Can you help minimize that so I can see? Okay, this slide is a lot, but I'll try to break it down as much as possible without taking too much time. This is the Oracle AI stack, right? And this covers all the different things that we offer around AI and AI services, right? Different tools, different platforms. Now, how many people today watch football? So I'll probably speak it to the men here. You watch the Premiership, right? English Premiership. Every now and then, if you watch the English Premiership, you would see when they put those statistics and they're like, oh, probability of so team to win, right? You would see powered by Oracle Analytics Cloud. If you notice, if you actually take time, there will be Premiership this weekend, so you can look at it. Those services are actually leveraging some of the tools that you have here to be able to generate all those, statistics that you're looking at, right? If you also watch motor racing, Formula One in particular, Oracle Red Bull Racing. So we work with Red Bull Racing, which are the champions when it comes to Formula One racing, the pinnacle of motor racing. And they utilize these services to be able to give all those data that they require to plan for those races. Now, what does our service cover? If you start from the bottom, you would see what we called the distributed architecture. So this is just emphasizing what I mean, that our architecture allows you to run AI services from anywhere. So whether you want to use the cloud or you want to buy your own hardware and have it in your own data center, we can help you to run your AI. Right. On top of that, when you look at AI infrastructure specifically, for you to be able to run AI, because AI requires a lot of computing power. You most times find yourself utilizing GPUs, right? Graphical processing units. And we have invested heavily in that infrastructure. So if you look at our AI infrastructure layer, we have super clusters that are built specifically for AI workloads to run thousands and thousands of GPUs for computations. And then we built it in such a way that it's so secure. We've segmented whatever it is that we're doing from different customers. One fun fact, we have one very interesting customer at Oracle. Who can guess who that customer is? Random, just random guess. Red Bull. Red Bull. I mentioned Red Bull already now. Okay, so that we don't spend too much time. The CIA actually uses Oracle Cloud. Yeah. Yes. And at our last flagship event, which is the Oracle Cloud World held in Las Vegas about 3 months ago, they actually came on stage to say, yes, we use the Oracle Cloud and we can stand by it because it is the most secure cloud platform out there. So security is something that is paramount, of course, for arguably the top most intelligence agency in the world using the cloud service, and they can stand by it. It shows you the pedigree that we have. So it's not just at that level. If you're a startup, you're an SME, an SMB, we also have provisions. If you want to work and want to train your models, you want to create your large language models, you want to train them, just two processors, 4 processors, we can provide for that also too. So it's not just the large organizations that we're catering to. Anybody that has any use case, and we'll get to those use cases. With AI, the possibilities are only limited by what it is that you can think of. So the possibilities are endless. So we have that. And then on top of that, we now have specific AI and Gen AI capabilities. Remember I talked about generative AI. So we have that, just like what you have with ChatGPT and what you have with your WhatsApp and Instagram, like you can type all of that. Now remember the difference. For that is commercial, open to the public. For an organization, would you want to take your company data and put it on WhatsApp or Instagram for anybody to be able to access it? You talked about policies, right? Somebody wants to ask it, in your organization, somebody wants to ask about a company policy. Should they go to WhatsApp or Instagram? No, you don't want to do that. So we've built our own generative AI platform that is a closed system that you can tailor and train specifically with your own company data. So you say, okay, I work with James and Co Enterprises. What is the policy for leave? I have 10 days remaining. Can I take my leave until so period? I need to be able to generate an answer based on real-time documentation that is available. How you're able to do that is leveraging Gen AI and Gen AI agents, right? With another feature that we call Oracle Database Vector Search. I'll talk about vector search further down in the slides. Well, we have all those. Of course, another one that is very popular is the digital assistant. So you talked about those chatbots. So you can call it the chatbot, you can call it digital assistant. But the idea is with this, you're not just going to get those dumb chatbots that can't tell you something that is relevant to you, right? So those chatbots are usually static. They are based on a knowledge base. So that's why that happens. So they loaded, maybe they have 5 or 10 documents. Anything outside those 5 or 10 documents, that thing cannot give you the answer. But what we have done differently is with these are our tools and services with generative AI, with Gen AI agents, with vector searches. The digital assistant is intelligent enough to go into real-time repository and go and get that information that is relevant to you. It can get to the point where you're able to ask a chatbot and say, what is my account balance as of today? Of course, you know that one cannot be something that somebody has taught somewhere. Because what if you withdrew money this morning and somebody sent you 100,000 2 hours ago? But that is how intelligent the digital assistant that we have can be. Speech to text, language, converting to different languages. I talked about Red Bull and all of that, and statistics with football. Part of it is with vision. because that is the only way it's able to see. Remember, these are people running around on the screen, but it's able to track movements. It's able to tell you that, oh, which player do we even use now? Cole Palmer ran 4.5 kilometers. You're wondering that, is somebody there measuring this guy's, looking at his leg and measuring how fast he's running? No, it's picking out those movements and it's taking all those calculations. So these are some of those features that you have there. I also talk about our applications, our application suites. Apart from all these different tools which you can leverage, we also have our applications, our Fusion applications that come with these AI services embedded into them. So let's say maybe you purchase our customer experience software, right? You now have AI assistants, digital assistants, or digital that are embedded with this, that you can ask questions around that customer experience solution that you have. So we'll see it, or we'll see some of this, a few videos that show some of these capabilities in action as we move on. So I talked about vector search, right? And you must be wondering, okay, what exactly is this vector search and how does this actually change the game? If you followed Oracle and you know our history, you know that database is one of the primary where we started from. And we've evolved over time. Now what we're offering is Oracle Database 23 AI. We used to call 11G, 12G, right? 19C, and the rest. And the latest we have now is 23 AI, with the AI at the end to emphasize how powerful this is when it comes to, AI workloads and how this is actually going to unlock the capabilities within your environment. So you're running Oracle Database 23 AI, right? How many, before I go into this, so that I don't go overly technical, how many people here have experience with database and Oracle database in general? SQL, right? SQL. By the way, MySQL is actually licensed owned by Oracle. But yeah, so yeah, you're well at home. Let me just put it that way. Yeah. So what we've done, right, is we've created a database that is converged. Typically, when people want to do use a database, you're either looking at transactions. You're a bank, you want people to be able to transfer their money very fast, and you want to be able to keep that record and ensure that that record is consistent and is accurate. Imagine you have 500,000 naira in your account, and then you open it, and then you see 50,000. Bros, you will be at the bank in less than 30 minutes. True or false? So that is the reason why you want to do that. At the same time, organizations want to be able to give you a whole lot more, which is where the analytics part comes in. Remember I talked about how organizations are evolving, right? How do you feel when you get a message from your bank today and they wish you a happy birthday? Feels good, right? At least, oh, they remembered me. But imagine if your name is James, and then you get a message from your bank saying, "Dear Bingpe, happy birthday, ma." How would you feel? Huh? You'd be like, in fact, these people shouldn't have sent me anything. Not only did they give me another gender, they gave me another name, right? And how do banks do a lot of these things? Of course, if we're going to be honest with ourselves, there isn't one person that is just sitting down there every day and says, okay, your job is to be sending messages, happy birthday to your over 10 million customers that the bank has. The person will resign that week. What kind of work is this? So the truth of the matter is it takes a lot of intelligence. The system has to understand, okay, which customer is coming up, birthday coming up, what does this customer do, right? So that is where analytics really starts shining. I'm just using the bank as an example. And it applies to whatever venture, enterprise, organization that you're actually in, right? So organizations still have to do this analytics. Now, what we find most times is, because not going into the technical part, but because of the way databases are structured, you find out a lot of times that some organizations will have one database for these transactions, and they have another database that's handling all these analytics things because they don't want to slow down their transactions, right? But what we've been able to do with the Oracle database is to provide you with a database that is powerful and robust enough to handle whatever kind of transaction they're trying to do. Whether it's just all this, okay, transfer money from here to here, or those deep analytics where you're able to log in and then you get analytics that gives you a lot of information about trends. Oh, this is what you've been spending your money on. This is how much you've been able to see. Sometimes we get that from some of these banks now, right? You see bar charts, pie charts showing you what your spending trend is and all of that. Those are those analytics features. Now, we've now gone a step further to add a feature that we call vector search. Now, what does vector search actually do? I always tell people that maths is the genesis of anything that has to do with data, right? And that's what vector search basically is all about. Everything that is in your database is more or less given like a set of numbers to be able to, I don't know if anybody here can remember exactly vectors and matrices from school. I know not all of us are science students, but just moving on. So it's able to give every data magnitude and distance. So let me break this down to an easier way for us, all of us to understand. If you look at the animal kingdom, right? You have a cat and a dog, and then you now have a lion. Which two are more similar? Anybody? Sorry? Okay, there's a lot of confusion, and that's exactly what I wanted. So a cat and a lion are similar in the sense that they are both cats, right? But a cat and a dog are also similar in the fact that they are both domestic animals. That is exactly what vector search does to you. So for you, so in this sense, imagine you have a list of those different animals. Vector search is able to show that relationship between the cat and the dog, and then also able to show that relationship between the cat and the lion. So when you go there and you ask a question and you say, oh, I want to know about an animal that I can keep in my house with my cat, it won't tell you that, oh, keep a lion. Because he knows that, okay, the reason why you're asking this is you want something that is domesticated. And the closest to that in that relationship is actually the dog. But if you go there and you say, okay, I'm a veterinary doctor and I'm treating an animal that is like a cat, right? It's a wild animal, but it's like a cat. Which other animal can I use to observe the behavior of this animal? It's tell you, oh, why don't you look at the domestic cat, right? It will tell you to go to the market, go to the forest and go and get a tiger or examine a lion. But so now imagine if you take this same analogy and you bring it to medicine, for instance. If a medical doctor brings up a case about a disease or a condition that somebody has and is able to see that similarity in something else that has happened that somebody else has treated, he can easily tell you, AI can tell you, oh, okay, this person has Apollo. There's a similar case that somebody had that fits this description, and this was the treatment. So you understand the way AI works and the way vector search works. So that is how it is. That data is stored in your database and it's able to catalog it and arrange it and group this, have all these different relationships that it can bring out to you. So when you start asking, for instance, what would be the policy within my organization if I'm trying to take leave and do these particular things, it will look at what the history is and not just give you a dumb answer based on information that is in a document. It can link it all together and give you something that will be relevant to you. So that is where we're going with AI and generative AI in general. And you know, the 23 AI will help you achieve that. So in all I've said, it's clear. Your data is very, very key. How you manage and structure this data is very key. And like I talked about, you know, I talked about the infrastructure and everything. I also talked about the data. With Oracle, you have the capability of having a modern data platform. You know, I talked about your data, you know, leveraging AI anywhere. And I talked about the Oracle database 23AI and how it's converged. So you can see what I described earlier, which is transaction processing, right? Just typical transactions, right? Ledgers, transfer money from OPay to PalmPay and all those things. Those are your typical transactions. At the same time, you have data warehouse requirements. All those vector searches, all those details about data of people that have done certain things, being able to get those patterns is stored in a data warehouse or a data lake. So it's able to manage all of that. And then when you have all that data, you can now carry out all these different analytics with multiple tools that we have, right? We have, for instance, our application development, Apex, which is a low-code development platform that allows you to develop, applications and services from your database that you have, your Oracle database. We have the generative AI. We have typical analytics and visualization, dashboards and the likes. So it's a complete platform to manage your data and be able to get a whole lot more from the data that you have today. The same thing with our Fusion applications. So these are some of the industries that we have applications for, right? So you can see the different industries: communications, financial services, healthcare, and so many, many more that you can actually leverage. And then we have lots of Fusion applications for ERP, supply chain, HR, customer experience, and the rest. So even in terms of applications that are out of the box, we also have services for all of that also too. Now, I was talking about use cases, right? I said it's only limited by imagination. I sampled a couple of challenges that people have, right? We talked about fraud detection, right? Part of the keynotes address and the speaking at the main hall talked about being able to get patterns and all of that, stop fraud before it happens. Yes, so AI helps with that. Fraud detection, cybersecurity management, being able to preempt some of these attacks before they even happen, and then be able to take action. Of course, anybody that is aware of cybersecurity will know about threat hunting, right? Not just sitting down and trying to prevent attacks. Now you start actively watching out for those attacks and taking action, proactive action before they happen. You have that, chatbots and virtual agents, and so on and so forth. So lots of use cases for financial services. Beyond financial services, retail. So we have supply chain use cases, customer feedback analytics, and the rest, right? Our customers really happy with us, or we just see that, okay, because they're buying our products, it's fine. Could it be a case of if they had an alternative, they won't buy from you? So sometimes, customer analytics, customer feedback, automated invoice and receipt understanding, right? By the way, this also helps to detect fraud. You know that there's sometimes you find someone that's manually changed certain things. AI is able to go in there and see that, okay, this invoice doesn't look right, and actually be able to flag it, even if it's not a computer-generated image, right? It could be a typical invoice that someone signed. The point is that there's so many use cases, so many ways that you can actually look at, using AI. But moving forward. We're talking about healthcare and life sciences, right? New drug discovery. So you have a situation now where AI can predict the way certain components of drugs react or act with each other. So it's getting to a point, and there was even an interesting article, a team that is actually doing that right now. So part of the issues that people had with drug testing is the ethics of testing on animals, testing on human beings, and then what are those adverse effects that could come up. You have a situation now where people are now using AI to simulate the results of those tests, thereby reducing the issues of having to test on other life subjects. And apart from that, it's able to achieve these results in record time. So sometimes drugs that took years and years because they needed to carry out certain culture. If anybody has an idea of how they do all of these biological things, you have to culture for a long period of time. It's been able to shorten that period exponentially. So drug discovery is becoming much faster, right? There's people doing surgery remotely, and AI is able to tell them, okay, this is what you should be looking at. So many use cases. Move forward. So I'm just going to show you, the AI in action.
Hi
So,
there. I am the
pause,
ATCB
please, pause,
Generative
please.
AI Analytics Assistant.
So this is I talked about digital assistant, I talked about smart digital assistant, right? This is an interaction between an AI-powered digital assistant, and this is actually in use, right? Was for Abu Dhabi Commercial Bank, right? That this was designed for. So this is actually AI in action, where someone actually asks questions, and the AI is going into information that you can get, generating some, also going into repository, also leveraging the Gen AI agents and vector search that I mentioned to be able to provide a response. So let's listen to the interaction.
Powered by Oracle Cloud. How can I help you today?
Hi there. Can you provide me an overview of our corporate operating expenses by various departments in the last quarter?
Sure, give me a few seconds while I get that information for you. Please wait. Last quarter, our operating expenses were 5 million UAE dirhams, a 20% increase from the previous year. Marketing accounts for the biggest share, which is 45%. Other department expenses include 25% on production, 20% on sales, and 10% on administration. Please feel free to ask if you have another question.
Okay. What are the top 5 departments where out-of-policy expenses are happening?
Certainly. Please wait while I run that query for you. Out-of-policy expenses are highest in marketing, 30%, sales, 25%, IT, 20%, human resources, 15%, and operations, 10%. These departments are showing significant deviations from our financial policies and require a stricter review process. Don't hesitate to inquire further if you have more questions.
All right. Let's get to our human capital. Give me some overview on employee attrition rates amongst high performers.
Absolutely. Let me fetch that data for you. Please wait. The overall high performer employee attrition rate is 15%. The highest is in customer service at 60%, followed by sales at 12%, IT at 10%, marketing at 9%, and production at 9% as well. The situation in customer service department urgently needs to be addressed. Please do let me know if there are any more questions on your mind.
Okay, over to some procurement insights now. I would like to understand the procurement spend statistics by categories in the last quarter.
Of course, give me a brief moment while I retrieve that data for you. Kindly wait. In procurement last quarter, the largest chunk of the spend, which is 45%, was on technology. Other shares include 30% on office supplies, 15% on logistics, and 10% on marketing and advertising. If there's anything else you're curious about, I'm here to answer.
Thanks. Can you provide me the top 5 suppliers by the amount spent in the last 6 months?
Definitely, just a moment while I process your request. Please be patient. In the last 6 months, the biggest share of our procurement budget went to TechPro Solutions, who received 3 million UAE dirhams, Office Max Supplies 1.5 million, Logi Change Services 900,000, Creative Tech Innovations 600,000, and Health Equip LLC 300,000. Should you have any more inquiries, please don't hold back.
Okay. Can you provide me the latest update on the inventory backlog in the Dubai Investment Park warehouse?
Sure, give me a few seconds while I get that information for you. Please wait. As of the latest update, our Dubai Investment Park warehouse has a 20% backlog, with home appliances at the forefront with 716 units delayed, followed by 551 clothing items, 451 hardware equipments, and 282 consumer electronics awaiting processing. I welcome any additional questions you may have.
All right, that's it for now. Thanks for the insights.
Thank you for the discussion today. If you have any more questions or need further analysis in the future, feel free to reach out. It's been a pleasure assisting you with these insights. Have a great day ahead.
Okay. So, any feedback
Hi
on
there.
that?
I am the ADCB
just-
Generative AI.
Okay. Sorry? That's probably no. Okay, yeah, I get that. But there was something that you would have noticed about this AI interaction, right? This digital AI-powered digital assistant. You would notice that the questions that were being asked were being asked in natural language, right? So there are a number of things that are happening. It wasn't it wasn't like a particular structured way that the person needed to ask the question, right? So you mentioned somebody mentioned something about chatbot asking you to rephrase your question, right? So this is a situation where the AI is intelligent enough to be able to pick out those key terms and then make sense of the question. Then you would see there was a part where he talked about attrition, HR attrition within the high performers, right? So what does that mean? That means first and foremost, the AI needs to be intelligent enough to identify who the high performers are first. So basically trying to say there's a lot happening in the background before he gives you that answer. It has first and foremost looked at the performance of staff within the organization, identified who those high performers were, identified the different units and departments that they were, cross-checked against who has probably left within a particular period before coming up with that simple bar graph and providing that. While it might seem like, oh, this video was quite long, right? If you took a few minutes, imagine asking someone in HR to provide you that information. Imagine a CEO saying, I need to know within the next 20 minutes all our high performers that have left within the last 6 months. As it is today. Sorry? You probably can't even get it in exactly. Exactly, because it's doing a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of computation that happens at the back end, right? That is why with AI, you're using GPUs because it's very compute intensive. But of course, we are more intelligent, but we can't compute things as fast as computers, calculators, and the rest. So really, will AI ever fully replace human beings? I don't think so, but it can make our lives a whole lot easier. And that's what we've seen with these AI-powered chatbots. So this is another use case that we're
Hello,
going to
my
say.
name is Anna, and I want to talk about my experience
Sorry,
at
please
a
pause.
restaurant.
So this is just another example, right? We have this a lot, especially with Nigeria's wonderful customer experience service. I said that because people were laughing. Yes, now very wonderful. Nigeria customer experience doesn't exist. It's on your own, right? Whether it's in public sector or private sector, we know one sector is worse than the other, but let's leave it at that. Now, this is a use case where someone calls in to give their experience. Imagine having this in an organization, calls in and then just speaks naturally, and right, the AI is intelligent enough to listen and it's doing a number of things. It's taking a transcript. You see it is doing sentiment analysis. How is this person's tone of voice? It's basically summarizing what exactly the person is saying. So you see it in action. Please help us play. Let's see what. Hold on, please. Hold on.
Yep. Answers the first AI provided wasn't sort of programmed. It was not like already programmed answer. So it has the capability of thinking by itself. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I would go as far as to call it as thinking. So and then that's we've seen a lot of videos around AI, right? Movies and all of that. Exactly. I think processing will be the key word to mention. AI is built on something that generative AI. Let me put it that way, not just AI, because like I said, like I showed you, there are different levels and types of AI, but generative AI in the context that we use it, right, is based on something we call large language models. Yeah, so large language models are basically designed, like, you have lots of parameters that are built into a model. So when you say it's actually looking into that large repository of data that it has. There's something that we call parameters for AI, right? We're more or less running out of time, but just know that, for instance, the one that most people are used to, which is the Meta one, it has 70 billion parameters. So you can imagine that's a lot of parameters to choose from. 70 billion, yes. Right. So I think there's even a new one. That's Llama 3. There's Llama 4 now, which is another large language model. ChatGPT is based on OpenAI large language model. So that those different large language models, maybe if you had an extended class of other time, we'll go more into that. But that's what it does. It looks into those large language models based on what it has learned, and then uses that to generate a new response for you. So let's watch this in action.
Today, the food was really tasty, but I thought it was a bit too expensive. I think $372.52 is a bit too much for a meal. And on top of that, there was a crying baby in the table next to us. And that really just kind of ruined the experience for all of us. But overall, I did enjoy the atmosphere of the restaurants, and the waiters were really nice and welcoming. If you want more information, feel free to reach out to me at 5678-123-1234.
Can you see what has happened now? The AI was doing a number of things, took a transcript of everything that was said, took out the key information, the person's name, how much the person spent, the person's phone number and all of that. Imagine somebody says this, and then you have an agent, an actual physical agent that has access to this information, right? And wants to manage a case. The person can just at a glance see where the problem is, see the person's mood when this thing happened. I can just give a call back and say, oh, so I'm sorry, Anna, you called in on your number, you said this, or can we offer you a refund, or can we take this? And you understand what I'm saying? So this is another use case. We're gonna have to round up because of time, but just to touch a few slides. I talked about the vector search. This is what it looks like, right? It's basically taking your data and then it puts it in a mathematical format, and then it's able to show those relationships between them. Next slide. Right, and then so many use cases, document searches, image searches, and there's so many guys that use this today. The right likes of Netflix, eBay, Amazon. That is the reason why when you go and you watch a movie on Netflix, it will start suggesting similar ones to you. If you like this, we believe you will like this also, right? Because it's able to get those similarities. So those are part of it. As I said, AI is not something that is out there like, oh, wow, super wonderful. We've never seen it before. And it's things that people have been using. It has been evolving. What has just made it more out there is the generative AI trend that has come up now, right? So I had this, but we'll skip this demo because of time. Yeah. And I mean, I think basically this is the gist, right? Let me just close because of time. What I can tell you is the world of AI is here to stay. It's exciting, it's interesting, it's going to keep on growing and evolving. And at Oracle, we're ready to go on this journey with you, right? Whether it has to do with cloud, we provide all the different kinds of cloud services that you might be thinking of. Whether it's on-premise also too, we provide all those services. We're here, you want to reach out to us, you have business ideas that you're thinking of doing something and embedding AI into it, we can definitely provide you the solutions to match your requirements. So that's what I wanted to add. Thank you very much. Okay, questions. I know because of time, sorry. Yeah.
First question, a wonderful session and presentation. Thank you for that. So the first question I have is the flexible deployment choices for Oracle. Is it specific to Gen AI, or it has some elements of Oracle infrastructure? Is it specific to Gen AI? I have another.
So Gen AI is a technology that we provide infrastructure for you to do. We do a lot more beyond generative AI. Generative AI is just a subset of part of the things that we do, right? Whether it's, I mean, you just want to host a server, right? So you can come up, set up your server. You want to create an application, doing whatever it is, whether it's financial services, whether it's e-commerce. We have the infrastructure for you to provide that. Generative AI is just, like I said, it's a service, and we also provide you infrastructure for you to be able to do all that. But anything you want to do, whether it's cloud, whether it's on-premise, you want to have servers, you want to have storage, all of that are things that we provide for.
How can an independent service provider navigate the implementation of generative AI in an enterprise environment when most of the data from users are residing within their emails or their PCs or work tools? How can an independent navigate that implementation of generative AI?
All right, thank you. So if you notice, there was something that I showed which talked about the data warehouse, right? The ideal thing is you want to aggregate your data and manage that data, make sure that that data is fit for use before you start doing AI and generative AI with it. So my advice would be to create a data warehouse where you can then feed in all that data that you have from email or whatever it is, because I have multiple databases, ingest them, right? Do some ETL and all of that on that data, right? Ensure that that data is fit for use, and then you can do analytics and AI use cases on top of that data. Yeah. Any more questions?
Thank you very much. So when you spoke about the Oracle platform, you made mention of a particular aspect of it called the vision, which you said is capable of predicting the results of some of these sporting events. So I was just wondering, what is the percentage accuracy of that vision aspect in predicting these things? What is the percentage accuracy? Sorry?
So when you say accuracy, especially when it comes to AI, there are two directions. You can actually set up your AI to be more focused on accuracy, or to be more focused on generating more more colorful responses. Yeah, that's the way AI works. You can narrow it down. So let's say maybe you have like an essay now, and you say, okay, write an essay for me. You can do that. So on our platform, we have the ability to be able to make some tunings and adjustments. But the accuracy of your AI, to a very large extent, will depend on the kind of data that you feed into it and how you actually train it, right? If you've never seen something before, and it's the first time that you're seeing that thing, what are the chances that you recognize it and recognize it properly? It's low, right? But the more you begin to see that, and that's what is also fascinating about artificial intelligence. It learns, right? So it's saying, and if you notice one thing, when the English Premier League started using the AI and analytics about 2 or 3 seasons ago, it wasn't as accurate as it is now. So over time, it got a larger, repository of data, right? And was able to make a whole lot more sense out of those patterns and everything. So that's actually how it works with AI.
Okay. You had a wonderful presentation, sir. Thank you so much for that. And then my question is on data security. I know that when you're using an AI platform, you can subject the AI to a particular data that is personal to you. So after subjecting it to that data, and it will analyze and give you response. So now, what is the tendency that if another person use the same platform to source an information about you, what is the tendency that that information that it gives to you will be given to another person?
Thank you. You touched on a very important and sensitive topic, which is security with AI, right? but if you notice when I was talking about AI from an Oracle perspective, I talked about security, the fact that it's segmented, the fact that you have more control as against what you have with ChatGPT or with Meta AI. And what there's one funny thing, most people don't read all those agreements. When you go to any site or anything, and they list all those entities, you just click accept. Right? So some of those things actually says, oh, whatever it is that you provide responses, data can be used. But if you find yourself in a situation where you have an enterprise version of these platforms, you can actually set a lot of security parameters. You can decide who has access to what kind of data, right? There are people that today are bad actors in everything. They're always bad actors. If you look at security, they're always trying to
They should control the
circumvent
correct mobile
or break the way
registration.
things are designed to work.
People
And
just
that's the way
fool.
you have people
If
have
even now outside, they couldn't allow
query
you rule
injections
against.
where they ask
No,
AI
outside, they couldn't allow you
questions
rule
in a
against.
particular way to divulge certain information.
Oh,
So
they do.
when you are building your models, you also need to build them in such a way that prevents those sorts of crimes. Imagine in an organization, someone uses the way that says,
Oh, Charlie
imagine
just
that
been
I'm
there's
empty
a
on this.
man organized
How much should I be paid?
this too.
Exactly. So it's asking for the salary, the MD salary. Now,
Please
it's
mute
expected
your
that you have
mic.
developed your model in such a way that you'd be able to read those sort of questions and say, I can't answer this question. Right? So those are the kind of things that we're talking about. So there's a lot of responsibility on the people that actually manage these AI platforms for organizations to make sure that things are done properly. There are guidelines and procedures that you should go through when you are using AI within an environment. Like anything, any tool, any product or service, it can be used for either good or bad. That's the honest truth.
I know that
Hi,
AI,
please, can we ask questions online?
why does it generate a wrong information?
Okay, so something called hallucination in AI, right? Sometimes AI models have hallucinations because it's been fed, sorry to say, nonsense. So sometimes it's garbage in, garbage out. So that's why I was saying that people are thinking, oh, in another 6 months, AI is going to take over the world. And so people think, when you watch all those movies, we are still far off from that, but things are evolving very, very fast.
Based on the question you just asked, I wanted to ask, does it mean that AI does not necessarily think on its own, but only works on the data or information that each programmers have confided to work with?
Yes, you can say that for now. It's evolving. It will continue to evolve. But what has happened is there's a lot of logic that is now involved. If it knows A, it knows B, it can calculate C and give it to you. Before, we were not at the point where it could on its own give you an answer, right? Now, so it's moving into that process where it's able to get all those patterns and be able to give you answers that are related to what you're looking for, because you can see all those connections and say, okay, if this makes sense here, this makes sense here, and I put it together, then this should actually make sense. So that's what is happening right now, but it takes a lot of data. The data is becoming larger that is available to it. The accuracy is also becoming better. So, and then the level of competition is also becoming, that is available to it, it's also becoming more exponential, exactly, with each passing day. So imagine what these AI models are able to do now, and imagine what they will be able to do in another 20 years. Everybody that is here has limited knowledge. So imagine a system that has the knowledge that everybody in this room has right now. If you're asking these certain questions, it will be able to give you an answer. Right now, that's the same thing we do because of what you've learned in primary school, secondary school, university, and your experiences in life. That is what you use to solve problems or answer questions, right? So it's the same thing that the models are actually doing. Okay. Okay, there's someone. Yes, please go ahead with your question, please.
Okay, yes, thank you, Michael. I've been listening with keen interest and hearing all the insights you've been sharing. And I just,
Ife, sorry.
yes, Ife, yes. I've been listening with keen interest on all the insights you've been sharing. And I was very much interested in your last slide, which
You can also drop your question in the chat if that works. I can't hear you, so please just type it in the chat and I'll respond. Thank you.
hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, you might not be feeding into your mixer.
The chat is disabled.
Please drop your message in the chat window.
The chat is disabled. How do I pass this information? I'm unable to.
Oh, yes, please. Okay.
All right. Basically, it's not a question. I'm just trying to get around all we've been taught. So, can we have this detail in an email as participants, sir?
Oh yes, definitely. I was also going to touch on that. For Oracle, we have lots of free trainings that you can leverage. In fact, we also have some free certifications for generative AI that you can actually leverage, right? So it's very simple. Just Google Oracle University, right? Oracle University. When you Google Oracle University, you will have access to Oracle University platform. Go under our Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, right? Under Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, you see lots of training certifications that you can leverage, to skill up. A lot of them are free. Anything that has to do with cloud. Yes, I saw that, but yeah, go on, please. Oracle University. Yes, just Google Oracle University.
All right.
Just go in there under our Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. You see lots of trainings. You want to become an architect associate, you want to become a developer. Most of the videos there, in fact, I just do the cloud infrastructure. All the videos are free. Cloud infrastructure.
All right. Okay. So my question is the persistent and consistent long-term use of AI as a tool and its implication it will have on human intelligence generally. Because as it is now, it seems to be taking a lot of the thinking from humans, to an artificial being. And over a period of time, humans might lose that faculty medically. So that's just my own fear.
Okay, I have an interesting argument with that. Anybody probably above the age of 40 years probably experienced using a typewriter, right? At some point, my mom was a professional typist. She went to Pitman's College in the UK to learn that, and she learned shorthand and all those things. And one day, the personal computer came into play. Computing became very cheap. People started getting computers. And right now, nobody uses typewriters any longer. In fact, there's always that argument that now people don't even write letters any longer. Spellings are bad, right? A lot of people can't even spell very well. But guess what? It doesn't mean that people have become dumber. It just means that they focus their energy and their time on more, in quotes, rewarding activities. So I think it's just the way human beings evolve. At a point in time, people were learning very rudimentary things that they needed to do. I remember back then when you wanted to print, the first set of printers, dot matrix printers, people needed to literally code the way you wanted that document to look when it comes out on your printer, right? That doesn't happen any longer. Right now, you just click print, it gives you in color, black and white, grayscale, anything you want. And it hasn't made anybody dumber, right? Yes, the world will continue to evolve. You will just find out that certain roles, certain jobs will die out in natural death. So the onus is on us as individuals to continue to scale and skill up to be able to meet the new demand. There's a new set of jobs that are coming into play now because of AI. Like I said, AI models have to be trained. Somebody needs to do all these analytics with the AI, and there are people that are going to have those jobs, right? So you need to prepare yourself to be able to step into that position and earn that forex for Nigeria. Yeah. Okay. Ife, Ife, the question, can you click on? I think it's in,
Hello.
okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. Can you go back to that slide? Sorry, I know that's the last slide. Which slide was that one now? I'm trying to. Okay, no, go back up, not this one, not this. Okay. Oh, no. Is the video. Can you? It's actually a demo video. No. You're going too high. After that one, click on that one. Yes, that one. Yes, that's that one. Yeah. So it's basically just so just to speak to this. Is you can play it. I think it's a very short one, but I'll just explain what it is. So what it's doing is you come there, just like you said, the chatbot, and you ask a question. This is our hotel stays covered in my policy, right? It's intelligent enough to know who you are, know the policy that the organization has, and is able to go there and get the details from the company's policies, whether the policy has been updated or not, right? Because these things change, company policies change and all of that. So that's what basically this is speaking to. Is an insurance use case. We know the way insurance works. There's a lot of policies and caveats that could be in a policy that is even specific to a particular customer, right? So you can now use AI to be able to provide some of these responses, even in terms of risk assessments for an individual to determine the kind of premium that person should actually pay for insurance, because people have different risk profiles, right? Those are some of the use cases that AI can also help with. Okay, I know I'm far ahead of the time that I was supposed to spend. So I don't know. If there are no more questions, thank you very much. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.